from the happiest place in the Lone Star State. Welcome back to the Talking Mickey Project. TMP is your home for Disney fans of all abilities. Now, it's your host, Emma.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, everybody.
How
Hey,
you doing
everybody.
today? Or tonight?
Oh my gosh, I was licking my teeth. That's so horrible.
Yeah, look, they were on
I know.
camera.
I'm sorry. Whoa, that was ugly.
And your outfit came out.
That wasn't really my accent. I'm just can't see.
I'm moving a coffee drink from you in the
All right, there we go. There we go. I got it.
Moving a coffee.
I got it.
Moving a coffee.
Don't move my coffee.
No, I'm moving it.
Don't move my coffee. You know
what?
why?
One.
You know what? Not to why you don't move my coffee?
Because
I
know you need it.
This mom runs on coffee and magic. Woo!
I want a mocha.
Next time we go out, we'll stop there.
No.
So everybody doing good? We're doing good over here. Emma's been back to her normal fun self.
Yeah.
Her normal Disney self.
Look.
Next week, we have a couple, because of course next Wednesday's somebody's birthday.
Yeah, we know. We
Anyway,
know how old
and
you
I
are.
will show y'all what Kevin and Emma got for my birthday. It came in while she was in the hospital. It came in, but I haven't used it because I want to wait till my birthday to use it because it's my birthday present. And we'll show you what we got Kevin, which was a Disney item, and what he just ordered, what Kevin Skipper Dad ordered for he and Emma. So there's that.
Yeah.
So hello to everybody.
Yeah.
Who we got? We got Crazy Mike, and we got Jonathan and Mary, and Dennis.
It's just them right now.
It's just them right now.
Yeah,
maybe others will join. It's Wednesday. People are starting school, and
I didn't know it started today.
No, school's been starting all over the country at various different times.
Oh, okay.
Different areas start at different times.
Oh.
Even in states, different areas of the state will start at different times. So did you say Emma Disney self or? No, I never call Emma Disney. I would never call Emma Dizzy. So tonight, Emma's doing, because it is still summer, even though we start in school, but it is still summer.
And I don't feel school.
Don't worry about it.
I know.
Her reaction summer series, and we're going to replay her and Skipper Dad's interview with Mr. Tony Bancroft.
It's a reaction of a reaction video. I'm doing good at it.
Okay. Okay. So.
Weekend.
And I had posted.
Hi, Daddy.
Who is that?
Daddy.
This isn't trivia, babe. Hey, Jonathan, this isn't trivia, sweetheart.
Jonathan, trivia is on Saturday.
Who addressed it already?
You.
Thank you.
You know I'm the host.
It doesn't matter if you're the hostess. If I saw it, I addressed it.
Yeah.
That's how it works. When you see it, you address it, and I'll keep my tick-a-lock. Emma's talking like this. She's smiling, but she's doing this. She's gritting her teeth and still smiling.
Oh.
Oh, and good morning, Dennis, since it is Thursday down there in Australia. So let's get started. Let's play your interview with Mr. Tony Bancroft and the creator of a much-beloved Disney character. Bippity, boppity.
Come on.
Look how long your hair was.
Tony Bancroft and Michael.
Good to be here. Thank you for having me, Emma.
You're welcome. Sorry for my excitement.
Sorry for her excitement, she said.
Can you turn it up a little bit?
I like excitement. That's good.
That's nothing to apologize for. I'm glad you're excited. We've been really looking forward to this. So thank you for the time.
Oh, you bet.
We have a bunch of questions. We're going to go through them. Emma is going to try to stay on track because she is known for repetition. So we'll try to keep that on track. So we can get through.
You bet.
So here, you ready for number one?
Yeah.
All right. Here is number one.
When did you become a Disney fan, and what is your earliest memory of a Disney park?
Disney Park. Oh boy. I
I
mean, I think my Disney fan, like most people, I think when I was young, I dreamed of going to Disneyland. I grew up though in a home that was fairly poor. We didn't have a lot of money. A single parent. My mom was a single parent of 3 kids. And so two twin brothers, my brother, and then we also had an older sister. And so we couldn't go to Disneyland very often. We couldn't afford it. So it was a really special occasion. I remember the first time I went to Disneyland, it was like magic, right? It was like, the best day of my life. And I remember loving it so much. I do remember I was a little frightened though, because I was probably in elementary school. I want to say maybe I was 7 by the first time I went to Disneyland. And I saw the 7 dwarfs, and one of the dwarfs came up to hug me, and I got so scared. I ran away from the 7 dwarfs.
They had some interesting costumes years ago.
Yeah, they had these big heads. Yeah,
That's what I'm thinking of.
That's right. The evolution of that costume has changed quite a bit over the years.
Yeah, they're a lot cuter now. But yeah, they were like these little bodies and big heads.
All right. You ready for number 2?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's number 2.
You grew up in Orange County, CA, within California.
Right.
How did that
Look how long
shape
your hair
your
was, baby.
childhood?
I know.
and
But you had these
eventually
glasses.
I still do.
No, but you
Like
had the black ones for
decision.
a long time.
became
Oh, the metal
Yeah.
one.
To
to
be
be
that-
an
The ones that
animator.
were similar to my
that's a
brown
good
one.
question.
I know. Well, you
Yeah,
look at the
I didn't
camera.
want to be an animator at first. To me, animation was a scary thing. I thought you had to be part rocket scientist really to understand how the mechanics of making a thing move worked, and there was this technical aspect of exposure sheets and where the sound hits, and I felt like it was going to be just over my head. So I knew enough to know that it was hard work and probably had some math involved, and so I stayed away from it. And instead, my brother and I both did comic strips, like in the newspaper. And so I thought I wanted to be a comic strip artist. And for years, I was doing that. It wasn't until I got into, I went to Orange County, like you said, or I lived in Orange County. And there's a school out there in Orange County, right by Disneyland, Cypress City College. And I went to Cypress City College
That's
for a
what,
little bit while my brother and I were both trying to figure out kind of next steps after high school and, making a comic strip. And we met a guy that was doing cool clay animated stop motion. So one frame at a time, moving these little clay figures around. And we fell in love with that. We made a film with him that summer.
So you're trying to match
And
it?
we were bit by the animation bug. That was like the light bulb moment.
Okay.
Oh, hey, we could do that. If we could do this with clay, we could do it with drawing, since we already
Yeah,
love
but you
to draw.
got to make
And we found out about CalArts, which was right in our own backyard. A lot of people had to come from different states to go to CalArts. And here was this great college that was only an hour away from where we lived, and we couldn't believe it. It was the #1 college for animation at the time. And we said, we got to go
back when
there.
Crazy Mike was Michael
so being in Orange County really helped.
Well, he's still Michael Hersheimer, but he changed his name.
No, that wasn't Uckenbach.
No, that's Mike Clement.
All right, here is, you ready for number 3?
Two great Mikes.
Okay, here's number 3.
Okay.
Along with your brother, you joined the then new Disney feature animation team in Florida at Disney Animation Studios. What was it like to work there during that time?
Oh man, Emma, I got to tell you, that was the time of my life. I really, I have a twin brother, and we're like best friends already. And just the fact that both Tom and I got hired at the same time by Disney into an internship that took us to Disney Orlando, Florida. and being a part of a brand new studio. It was the first time that Disney had opened a new animation studio in like,
I'm looking
I don't
at
know,
this
50
one 'cause the
years or
picture's
70 years since the Burbank lot opened up. And
Yeah, we
so
will, Brian.
we were part of history. It felt like we were part of history. And yet we were like 20, 21, something like that, very young guys. And to be surrounded by everybody else in the studio who was super young, most of the studio, probably like 60%, 70% of the studio had just got out of college. They were all young like us. And so it was the perfect atmosphere of just excitement and joy. We would work late into the night. We would try and get into the studio on the weekends, and they would lock the doors, and we were like, let us in. We want to draw. I mean, we were so excited. We just wanted to work all the time and be a part of that. And then it was connected to a theme park. So at lunchtime, we could just walk outside and go on a ride or
whatever.
Get a hot dog and watch
probably
the
say,
people.
you know, there was,
It was
these
so
old
fun. It was the best time of my life.
Kohl's commercials
That's
from the
That's
80s.
pretty awesome.
They're at the window and they're going, what way?
You got
They're
theme
going-
park.
Right, at Disney MGM.
Oh.
That would be Emma.
Yeah, the animation studio was
Peter
right
put
there. It was
to
one of the
work,
attractions. You could
3 hours
take a
early.
tour through it.
You've gone.
Backlot tour.
Well, not the backlot tour.
Right.
On the when you go in, it's kind of on the right hand side, right in the back where Star Wars Launch Bay was, and
Oh,
where
yeah,
you used to
that
meet
way.
all the characters. That section is what used to be there.
It was right by the back lot, the entrance to
Right.
the back lot. There was animation and then the back lot tour. So it was real close.
Yeah, so I don't know if you saw it back then, but you probably have been in that area before. Yeah,
No.
but that's pretty cool.
Your hair
good
was
deal.
down to
All right,
here.
you ready for number 4? Okay, here's number 4.
When you moved back to California, you worked on both Beauty and the Beast
He did the voice.
and Aladdin. How was working on those films different than what you did in Florida?
That's a great question, Emma. You did your research, boy.
God.
I gotta say, it was different because when
yeah,
I was in Florida, I wasn't animating yet. I was doing what they call cleanup animation or
So you can
final
see
line
it.
animation, which
Oh,
is really
no,
not
it's
animating. You're
good.
kind of doing the final drawings over the animator's drawings and putting the characters on model and that sort of thing. It's a great step to learn from, but I really wanted to animate. So what brought me back to California was that I tried out for an animation position at the California studio. So from Florida, there was an opening of a new job of an animating assistant position that came up, and all of us junior, wannabe animators did tests. We actually had to like do some homework and make a test, and then it was judged by like Glenn Keane and some of the great animators in California. And I won the opportunity of this new position to go back to California and become an animating assistant. First on Rescuers Down Under. That was the first time I got to animate my own character. And it was Frank the Frilled-Neck Lizard. If you remember, he was like, wood, all we got to do is get the wood, and he had that high-pitched voice. And but then I went on to Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin, where I worked with Will Finn on both Cogsworth on Beauty and the Beast and Iago the parrot on Aladdin.
Isn't that cool? That's iconic stuff, right? I mean, goodness gracious, that's awesome.
Well, yeah, and I was, I'm like, you can imagine, I was excited because I was at that point probably 22, 23, maybe. I think I was maybe 24 even when I got into, no, that was more like Lion King was maybe 24, 25. Yeah, still young.
Wow.
And those are such big.
Around my age.
Yeah, Emma's 23, so
you can imagine. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. And so that seems like it was pretty fast paced because you were doing some really big projects one after another.
You are 20.
I was moving up the ranks a lot faster than I ever expected, and God had a purpose for me, I guess, because he really opened the doors for me.
On the screen.
That's awesome.
No.
All righty. Well, here is number 5.
Look.
Okay, here's number 5.
After you were a supervising animator on my favorite animated film. Our camera light
we
in
were
the
in Tennessee, and I was substitute at Emma's elementary school.
What does a supervising animator do?
So funny, Miss
And
Kelly,
what do you like?
She said the child's name, but I can't remember. So they couldn't put your name, and they go, "Oh,
And
look,
me
there's Miss
about that role.
Miss Emma Mama."
Oh gosh, boy.
So,
Yeah, so supervising animator, I was promoted. So after I did
You
Aladdin,
Amy.
Lion King came around, and if you remember, and I'm sure you know this, that Lion King was kind of the B film, and the A film that everybody wanted to go on to, Glenn Keane and some of the big animators that were there for a long time, went on to Pocahontas. And so Pocahontas was that film that was like the A-list film. That was the one that everybody wanted to work on, but we were splitting our staff into two to try and be more productive, get more films out at that time. And so Lion King was kind of the experimental film, and had all the like the younger directors, the least experienced staff was on it, and artists. And but it gave me an opportunity to be promoted up a lot sooner than I would have if that split didn't happen. And so the directors didn't know a lot of, they were first time directors, Roger Allers and Rob Minkoff. And so they looked at portfolios and reels, like videotape reels of all the animators that were young that were coming up, to try and see if they wanted to promote any of them to supervising animators. And so I put together a reel of all my Cogsworth work from Beauty and the Beast, and Iago from Aladdin, and it was on this tape, and they saw it. And I put a little note. I remember I put a little note on the tape that said, maybe you'll consider me for Zazu, because I knew there was a bird in Lion King, this new bird character named Zazu. And I said, well, maybe you'll consider me for this, because I just got off with Iago, and that's a bird, and this is a bird, you know. And I thought, okay, that's kind of the low-hanging fruit. Maybe I could get that if I'm lucky. And this was just a huge God moment for me in my life. You know, you can tell I'm a Christian.
There is a sign
I see God's moving in my life for sure. And that was one of those moments where they called me up. I remember being at home, and the directors called me up and said, we want to consider you for Pumbaa, the warthog, and the sidekick to Timon, the buddy of Timon.
It was opposite. You have to do like
Simba. And I was like, I couldn't believe it, because I never expected that. I didn't even talk about Pumbaa and Timon to them. I didn't ask for it or beg for Pumbaa, because I never thought that was going to be an opportunity that could come my way. Pumbaa and Timon were already at that point kind of the comedy stars. And so for them to give me Pumbaa was a big opportunity for me, and it changed my career. I was super excited. So the most, what did I like the most about being a supervising animator? I got to work with some really great, a supervising animator is in charge of that character, at least in those days. We were assigned that one character, and then we were kind of the lead animator on that character. We set the tone of how the character moves, how he acts, and then we supervise other animators that have to do that character also. So I had a unit of 3 animators total. And so I would go over their drawings to make sure it looked like how I was drawing Pumbaa, so that it seems consistent. That one person, that's the goal of a Disney film, right? Is you want it to look like one person animated the whole movie.
That's right.
Even though there's 60 or 70 or more these days.
Wow.
So I had to go over drawings.
Can you imagine? You ever imagine how many
all the other animators
it takes to do
Pumbaa? And that's why I was a supervisor. What I liked about that was I worked with some really talented animators, and they would give me ideas for how to handle Pumbaa.
How many?
Like I remember I was struggling with the side view or something like that. Of
look who's
Pumbaa
here!
Looked like from the side. And one of the animators did a drawing, one of my crew animators, and I was like, "Oh, that's it," And I started incorporating what they were doing, what some of the other artists were doing, and which helped me to make Pumbaa even better. And then the least thing about that role is that the thing that I like the least about it is just that it takes a lot of time. When you have to do your own work and then on top of it go over other people's work, you're there really long hours. And I did. I worked harder on Lion King than probably I had on any other film. But I loved it. It was fun.
That was a film that was amazing. That was the first film that my wife and I went to on a date. Yeah. Way back in '94. No, Emma wasn't born yet. But it struck home with her. It's always been her favorite. She used to carry around the little Simba when she was little. And all through Disney World, if I remember right, one year. But it was just such an iconic thing. And what I remember about it, I've always been curious. It's like it had real camera shots. I mean, it's like sweeping views. And I don't remember seeing that in animated movies and cartoons before. Was that new then? I'm
Yeah, it was.
with this question.
It was pretty groundbreaking at the time, and that's a good observation that you have, because we were doing things with rack focus. If you remember in the beginning, there's like a little ant going across a branch, and then you rack focus, and he becomes blurry, and in the background
the ant going across the branch.
refined and tight, and
part of a leaf.
Some animals splashing through water.
Opening to line.
And so those kind of cinematic techniques hadn't really been done before, but with CAPS, which was new at the time, which is now outdated, but that new software system that we use to create a layer system, not unlike how Walt Disney had with the multiplane camera.
The old multiplane camera. That's right.
But now we can do that in the computer and have, instead of just 5 or 6 layers like with the multiplane camera, that was the restriction that it had. It can only go so high. So, but in the computer, we could have 100 layers. We could do all kinds of things. We could pan those layers and move them at separate timings. And, all of a sudden, the world of cinematography opened up to us like never before. And we can really have fun with it. We did.
It was an amazing film. And it's still one. Like I said, I know it's still Emma's favorite. I think it's absolutely my favorite.
Oh, that's cool.
All right. You ready for number 6?
Yeah, I think I know how old a Lion King would be this year.
How old would it be? Because it was in 94.
Yeah.
So you want to do math here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Emma's doing math live on the
this
screen.
Okay.
Well, when she originally
Right, so 4 years, so it'd be 28.
It wasn't live.
About 29. No, Mike,
It's
94 to that. We'll do math later.
Emma might be right. Yeah, I'm an animator, not a mathematician.
You might be right. Maybe it's 29.
I went to school for art, so I don't know.
Well, and I got an accounting degree, and I can't do math either. So that's all right. Here we go.
Magnolia Press Coffee Company.
Talking about the Lion King a bit more. What inspired the look and personality of Pumbaa?
Oh, that's a great question. When I first came on the movie, Pumbaa and Timon were described to me as what if the Serengeti and if animals went to college, they would be like the 2 college roommates that probably partied too much, didn't go to class, skipped class. And Pumbaa particularly was like the jock. He would have been like kind of the dull-witted football player. And that's kind of, and then Timon was like the instigator, the party guy, probably. Yeah. And so when I thought of them as like these, odd couple college roommates,
the way he described
that kind of was the first time that we started to tap into. And Mike Suri was my good friend that did Timon, and we worked very closely together on their personalities. And they were a lot like us too. I guess I was a dull-witted guy too, and so similar to Pumbaa. But a heart of gold. I love that about Pumbaa is that he's an innocent, and yet and I love also that when he's going on about I always thought they were balls of gas burning billions of miles away. When he says that line, it's like a little opening to, well, maybe he's not so dumb. He actually knows what stars are up in the sky.
Last Wednesday.
No, they're fireflies. Fireflies, stuck on that big blackish.
She had a Ernie Isabella, who
that was such a funny scene and a great scene.
It
was scenes like that, and talking to the directors that really gave me a great understanding of what they wanted out of Pumbaa. And then as an animator, and really an actor, we really think of ourselves as actors. We try and get under the skin, if you will, of the characters. And so I spent a lot of time with Ernie Isabella, the voice of Pumbaa, and I think that really helped. There was things that I picked up on in how he looks, and put that into Pumbaa, and then also a bit of myself too. There's a scene where actually that balls of gas scene is notorious because I was inspired by my wife, who was pregnant at the time, because in that scene, he's on his back looking up at the stars, and he's kind of rubbing his belly. And I saw my pregnant wife do that oftentimes while we were watching TV at night. And so I put that in there as a trait that, a heavy set warthog with his big belly might just do that in a relaxing
Oh,
way while he's
cute.
thinking and looking up at the stars.
That's cool.
Hey, Sandy.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah,
it's like you wonder in this- I
There
mean,
he is.
the whole
There she
thing
is.
of doing animals.
Look
I
at
mean, one of the things I've always wondered is how, if you're trying to do this, how do you split the line between making them like super realistic and
Right.
not, and more cartoonish? And it seemed, part of that is, am I going to believe what I'm seeing as a real character, as a real personality?
Anthropomorphic.
Yeah, I mean, we call that
Anthropomorphic.
anthropomorphication.
No,
It's a fancy
anthropomorphic
word for
is
personifying, giving
is
human
Mickey
traits, human
Mouse.
emotions
Is
to
Mickey
an
Mouse.
animal
It's all the
or
Disney
an inanimate object. We
non-face
did that with
characters.
Cogsworth
Oh,
and Rainier and
Whereas
those
the face
characters too.
characters are the princes
But
and
that's kind of a
princesses,
Disney
or
mainstay that goes
and
back in the history of
Merida's
Disney, of
mom
course, is like
and
Jiminy Cricket and things like
Elsa
that. How do you give a
And
cricket
some of
these,
them.
which are
Some
pretty
of the
ugly
villains,
to
some
look
of
at
the
in real life? How do you
It's really
caricaturize it, kind of
Queen.
humanize it
Face
so that it's appealing
character.
and
But you really-
relational to the
Yeah.
audience? We want our audience to relate to these characters, not just as
face. He's
a warthog and a meerkat, but more so like characters that they would know, somebody that they would go to school with, somebody they could really connect with or be friends with.
That makes sense. All righty, you ready for number 7? Okay,
Okay.
here is number 7.
Later in your
Mulan.
career,
Original
you got
Mulan.
the
One of the
opportunity
same age
to
as
be
me.
a
Mhm.
director of Mulan.
Right.
What does an animation director do? Did you like it as much as being an animator?
Oh man, that's a good question too.
Every time
Excuse
Emma
me,
looks at this because I'm
let me smell that a little
swallowing
bit.
that misophonia thing.
That was a huge thing for me
Well-
too, and Emma, as your dad was just pointing out too, I was pretty young, and particularly young when I got asked to direct on Mulan. I had risen up through the ranks pretty quick from, a cleanup
That's a
artist
great
to
tip,
an
Mike. Thank
assistant animator to an animator to a supervised animator, and now I was being asked to be a co-director on a Disney feature, and I was 27 at the time.
Wow.
27
And
when you worked on
probably the youngest director in Disney history
Oh,
asked me,
wow.
and it meant going back to Florida. I was in Burbank, California at the time, and I was married and one child on the way.
Okay.
So it was a big deal.
No way.
But like that moment I was telling you about when they asked me to animate Pumbaa, it was
Yeah.
life changing. It was
Yeah.
one of those
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're asking me to be a director for a Disney feature. I was so excited. I was petrified at the same time. I'm not ready. I don't know what I'm doing. And so it was such an exciting and scary time for me, kind of both really. And an animation director, to answer that part of the question is, we're really in charge of every element of making the film, just like a live action director is. I like to say we're like a live action director, but we do our jobs in slow motion, 24 frames a second. So we have greater control and it takes longer. It's a longer process. But, from working with the script writers to recording voices to working with the animators and the production team, all the way to final score and sound effects, we're involved with every creative aspect of the filmmaking process. And do I like it? Oh, yes. I mean, I don't know if I love it as much as I do an animator. I fell in love with animation as an animator because I love to draw. And I still draw, I still animate as all the time. Like I said, I'm animating on a project right now. Yeah. And so I would animate probably far more and at the drop of a hat if anybody asked me to. Whereas directing, there's definitely headaches involved. There's a lot more social pressure and politics involved. So I really, it has to be the right project for me to get involved as a director. But I love doing that too, because I love telling stories. Yeah. And that's what you get to do as a director, is be a storyteller.
Shape the whole story. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. All righty. You ready? What?
Bancroft Mulan came out the same year I was born.
Oh, what? Did
was
it?
Born in 98, yeah.
Oh, that's
Emma,
special.
I don't know if this is controversial or not, but Emma has, she likes the animated versions and not the, live action remakes quite as much.
Oh, I mean, no, I mean, I think the controversy is, why are they making those? And I've been asked that so many times. How I feel about that. But no, I think most people really like the original versions. I've been told that a lot, so I appreciate that, Emma.
I think Emma's a Disney purist. Yeah.
We are an
Yeah.
original.
All right.
I do
Original
have
family.
a question though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another YouTuber I watched was talking about an unused concept from custom in Tesco. And apparently it was like the old animation style.
An unused concept for what?
For Encanto?
Encanto.
Oh,
Yeah.
Encanto. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And he asked a question towards the very end if Disney could bring back more of the old style
while we walk around.
to feeders and stuff.
He's just joking.
Yeah. They were asking about like why isn't there more 2D animation, right? Like in movies like Encanto and stuff like that. Yeah, and I mean there has been, I mean, obviously, you know, in Moana, right? Remember the big guy's tattoo and stuff that would animate? That was all 2D animation done by Eric Goldberg and Mark Henn. And you know, they seem to look for opportunities to bring it back when they can, but it's not on the feature level. And I know I get asked that question a lot, and I know there's a lot of fans that want to see more 2D animation on the screen. And all I can say is I think it's coming back a little bit. You know, I'm working on a sequel to Enchanted, which is a Disney film.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And they're making one called Disenchanted. I think I can say that because it's been announced. And it's got 2D animation in it to a certain degree. So that's coming. You know, I just did Space Jam: A New Legacy, which had quite a bit of 2D animation in it. So there's things on the horizon that I keep hearing about but hopefully Disney will make a fully 2D animated feature again. Would you like that, Emma? I would too.
There you go. She stays on top of things, so you never know what questions she's going to ask.
Yeah, I could tell.
All righty, you ready for number 8?
Yeah.
Okay, here's number 8.
In 2014, you and your brother Tom started the Bancroft Brothers Animation Podcast, which focuses on animation. Who has been your favorite guest so far, and who will be your quote Holy Grail quote guest?
Oh, that's a good question. I think about that a lot. Like, first of all, I you know, like you, Emma, I love doing a podcast. Tom and I just do an audio only version, although we have talked about doing video like you're doing. And this is a good system you use to do it too. But yeah, we love doing the podcast. I've done it for, almost 7 years now. We've had all kinds of guests. Favorite guest, hands down, Glenn Keane. Yeah. And we've interviewed Glenn now, I want to say 3 times through the history of the podcast. And he's talked about his faith journey, actually, which was really unique in one of the podcasts. And he's talked about Over the Moon when he directed that, and the Kobe Bryant short. We've gotten him talking about that. So it has been great, and I hope to have Glenn back. The Holy Grail guest. Boy, I don't know. We've actually, you know, it's funny. We've satisfied a lot of our big fantasies of who we wanted to get. Most of them have said yes, or we've gotten a lot of people that we wanted to get on the show. There was a time I wanted to get John Lasseter when he was running Pixar. I know that. That was a tough get, and it never worked out, unfortunately. But currently, gosh, you know, I don't know. I love every guest that we get from a certain degree because it's each one brings something different. They all have different life stories and journeys, just like you know, Emma, because you do this also, and you interview people and you realize, hey, everybody's similar in a lot of ways. We're a lot alike, and yet everybody has their own story that's unique also. And that's one of the things I love about doing a podcast. So we'll have to have you on our show sometime, and that would be a holy grail moment, right?
Oh, for her, she would freak out.
How are we gonna do
All righty.
video?
All right, let's go to number 9. Number 9.
Graveyard.
You have also served as professor and are the leader of an
Animation.
animation school at Azura.
Azusa, yeah.
That's what's on his mug. Azusa
There you go. See,
Pacific.
it's on his mug. Azusa Pacific University.
Pacific
you went to?
No, that's
University.
That's where he's a professor.
What
Oh, okay, I
have
did not.
doing those jobs taught you about the future of animation?
Oh, that's good. One of the things I love about teaching is that I get to dive into the stuff that I learned way back when I was a student, and I get to relearn because I'm now feeding the next generation of students the lessons that I learned, and by doing that, I get to relive. What's important, what really matters about the 9 principles of the 12 principles of animation, like squash and stretch and arcs and the things you read about in the illusion of life that go back to the days of the 9 old men. And why do those things matter, and how do they help you in your work? And by doing that, by teaching others, I'm also reminding myself. And when I go back to the drawing board, like the next day after my class is done, I'm thinking about that now, like never before. Things that I take for granted that I learned a long time ago, I get to deal with now. And I'm always reminded of what really matters, and how to get that on the screen. So I love that aspect of it, but it has taught me about the future of animation too, because I see all kinds of new software and hardware technology that's come up over the years, and I learned a lot about that being an instructor, because we want to be relevant. We want to have industry standard equipment and software. And so, and I find myself learning from the students too, oftentimes not about technology as much, but certainly about shows that they're watching, what their favorite cartoons are, and anime particularly, which I don't usually watch, and they're always talking about the newest anime thing, and and just what's popular. I get a sense of what's popular out there by having students.
What he does.
Yeah, there you go.
Because when he's answering the questions, he's all smiles. He was excited to share this.
Oh yeah, they had a new trailer out that just came out yesterday or the day before. It looks good, right?
Out later this year. Yeah.
It looks like it might be for older audiences.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Wait,
like around my age type.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah, I don't know if it's as you're right. I don't know if it's as kid friendly as the original Toy Stories are because it was about toys and stuff. These are more like real people, real monsters, real robots, and things like that. There's probably real jeopardy involved in that storytelling too.
Yeah.
So you could be very, very right about that. We'll see.
Good observation. All righty, that was number 9. You ready for number 10?
No.
Okay, and then we get to the fun 5, right?
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
You credit God for much of your success. How has your faith helped you over the years?
Oh man, it's been essential. I mean, to just the skill of drawing obviously has helped me a lot, but I wouldn't even have that. I don't feel like if it wasn't for God. I really believe that God puts passions on our heart of what He has for us and what we. And I've always had a passion for drawing since I was a little boy, since I was 3, and my brother and I both, and we've shared that passion, and we've grown creatively because of that passion. And I really feel like it wasn't an accident that we loved animation and cartooning and stuff. I think it was for a purpose, a greater purpose that God had for us. We didn't know that. We didn't know that at the time. We were little kids. But as I've grown and matured as a Christian and read God's word in the Bible, I feel like I've really learned a lot about how God works through us for a higher purpose and how we have a part to play in His bigger story. And so I love that. I can be a character in God's bigger story through drawing and making animation. That makes me happy.
There you go. Emma has a mission with her channel to try to inspire people, to try to demonstrate what she can accomplish, disability or not.
Yep.
And one of the things I've tried to encourage her about is that she was born with a cleft lip and palate, so speech is not easy for her.
Yeah.
But I said, through your personality, through the fact that she's doing this, through the fact that she learned sign language, she actually has like 3-4 different ways to communicate now that a lot of people don't have.
Yeah.
So he has made up for that one thing. He may have, had that one issue in your life but he is compensated for that by giving you all these great skills and the heart to want to help people.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
that's great. I believe in that for sure. And I think I could see that in you, Emma. You have a real light about you, a real joyous personality. And I love that you are a Disney fan also. That's cool.
One other comment I'll make real quick is when she was young, she was probably 4, 5, 6, 7, up in that age. She's been a big Pokemon fan, and she's a gamer and all those things. She used to draw one after another. She would draw Pokemon characters and other things. And we had, these big plastic totes full of her drawings. And we still got some, believe me. But that's not something she's done recently, and I've been trying to encourage her to go back to drawing because she would take so much time, and then she would do another, and over and over, and she just wanted to get it right, and she wanted to do. And she has probably 1,000 Pokemon cards, and I think she's probably drawn every single one of them more than once. It's really amazing. So I would encourage her too to do that. That's the skill that you have. That you would probably enjoy,
covered the
and maybe
floor of the big bonus.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that's great.
There you go. There's the drawing skill too. All right, number 11. These are the fun 5. What? You have one more thing you want to say? What?
Do you think Pixar will make a sequel to It's a Bug's Life?
To A Bug's Life? I don't know. For them, for a corporation, because you have to remember they are a business, right? So money is always the bottom line. I know we'd like to think that it's about just the fun of making these films, but they have to be successful in the marketplace, or they won't consider a sequel. And at the time when they made that, they were swearing. John Lasseter said, we'll never make sequels, right? Well, now they are. They are, because they make money, and they make a lot of money. So will they do Bug's Life? I don't know that it was ever that popular or did well enough in the marketplace. I didn't like as much as I liked the first one. Money. That's my guess.
Just kind of enjoy the one you have, right?
Yeah, I do like that film though, and I'd love to see those characters, maybe in shorts or something.
Yeah, Pixar short, but
like Oswald the Lucky Rabbit.
Oh yeah, one of her favorites.
Oh, Oswald.
Oh.
I see him back there. Yeah. I see him. I like Oswald too.
All righty, let's do the fun 5. All right, here's number 11.
Fun 5.
If you could have a year's supply of any Disney Park snack, which one would it be?
Oh, I love at Disneyland in kind of the New Orleans area. They have those funnel cakes. It's the funnel cake. I would have a lot of funnel cakes, and
Emma's is just plain old butter popcorn, right?
Wow.
Popcorn. It's not necessarily unique, but she loves it, and it probably tastes better in Disney, right?
Yeah. They sprinkle some magic on it.
There you go. All righty, number 12. Here you go.
If you could live at any Disney Park resort hotel, or the one that we're never built, which one would it be?
I haven't been to a lot of. There's some new ones in Florida that I keep hearing about. Like there's that Marvel Hotel, I think, right? I just seen pictures of it. And there's one that's an animation kind of tribute hotel.
Yep.
That has the Lion King. Have you been there?
But
We stayed there.
It's in Disneyland.
Yeah, we stayed there. In
Yeah.
December.
Oh, really? Now, see, I've never been there. I haven't seen it. I've only seen pictures. I've always, since that opened, I've wanted to try that. So I would probably try that one and stay at that one.
There you go. It is definitely for fans of animation because they have. I guess it looks like early concepts of different characters in the lobby, and they show how they evolve over time.
Yeah, I love that.
It's really neat. Up with all the Disney news.
All right, you ready for number 13?
with the Marble
Okay, there you
Hotels
go.
in Disneyland Paris.
If you could only visit one Disney park in the future, which one would you choose?
Only visit one Disney
What?
park in the future.
movie.
Yeah.
You know, I have been to several of them. I've been to Euro Disney. I've been to the Walt Disney World, obviously in Florida, and of course Anaheim Disneyland theme park. I think I love the traditional, the first one, Disneyland in Anaheim. I think that's my favorite. That's the one that I would choose to visit all the time.
I think we've only been to Disneyland once back in 2019.
Now, since
for
then,
several
we've been
days.
there twice.
We've been to
there.
Disney
Somebody
World.
turned.
Emma's been to Disney World over a couple dozen plus times.
Now it's only
Wow.
22 times.
But I think
Holy
if-
cow!
We're gonna
Wow.
get
No, it's now going to
They
be
know all
22
about that,
times, but we're
Okay.
going in June
that's what
of this
planet you.
year.
But I was going to say, I mean, I think this might be true for you too, Emma. I mean, if we could only go to one ever again, which one would you want to go to?
Disneyland.
Yeah, I would say so too.
Really?
It's got
Really?
the history. We did the Walk in Walt's Footsteps tour, which is amazing.
Oh.
Emma, we had to keep Emma from telling the tour guide everything that she knew because she knew so much history. But it's just such an amazing park, and we didn't see everything. We were there for several days, and we didn't see everything. And it's something different about it. I think the scale is different than the Magic Kingdom. It feels different.
That's fun. Yeah, that's right.
Knowing
right.
the history is really cool, and I don't know. A lot of the attractions, the versions, I think, are just better.
We only have
in my
we could
opinion.
walk
What
a
about you?
while.
It's
Same
okay.
thing.
I
I forgot to go
Yeah.
there.
We'll visit
Everybody
Roy
share,
if
so-
we visit Walt.
Yes.
So
yes.
we
This-
We'll be there
can
on
visit
Tuesday.
Walt
I
again.
forgot yesterday.
we can do that.
Mm.
Last time we went, we took a day
Another.
away from the parks and went to
You can do it on Friday.
Glendale to
Friday.
do the
I have to.
basically. Emma wanted to bring flowers to the cemetery to
Oh.
Lillian, and we went to the Tam O'Shanter for lunch.
Oh
And
yeah. I love
we
the
went
Tam O'Shanter.
to Walt's barn. We did the whole thing,
Wow.
and it was one of the best days. I mean, absolutely was one
We
of the
met
best days.
Mr. Right
So she wants to make sure we didn't get to visit Roy, but she thinks Roy needs a lot more credit than
David
he's got,
Nick,
and she wants to visit
the
Roy the
guy
next
who
time.
wrote the
we go to
book,
Los
the
Angeles.
50
Roy Senior or Roy Junior?
Survivors, yeah.
Roy Oakley, Walt
Yeah.
Worked
brother.
in,
She wants to
Disneyland
go to
from
his
the very
bring flowers, I
beginning,
guess,
from the
basically,
first day.
right?
Yeah,
So,
I
I
know
know.
that's 5
I'm
minutes.
sorry.
Well, no, the 55.
Have you guys been to the
all the
studio? Have you been to
people, all the
the
cast
main
members.
lot studio?
We've been by it. We've
we
never been
passed
to
by
it.
it
What was in the
actually.
book?
Yeah,
Oh,
We're
see,
all
that's,
collecting
you guys got to
facts.
get there. I
it would be
think.
cool to
There's
do.
so
Yeah,
much
do
history
some type
there.
of tour if they had it available or something like that. That would
Well,
be
you know,
awesome.
now they have
Columbo. It's about all
Walt
the
Disney's
episodes, every
original
episode of
office.
Columbo.
They've re-renovated it
One
back
of
to
our
its
favorite
original
TV
state.
shows.
Well,
wow.
And it's a very special
remember
VIP
that.
tour. I've had the chance of seeing it, and it's phenomenal.
Mhm.
I
For
have
any
it
true
there.
Disney fan, it's kind of the bucket
It just
list.
talks about,
Oh
you know,
yeah.
big
I
special
know.
thing.
I'm saying I
So
have
that's
it.
what happened to it.
Well, they redid it, right?
I know, but it used to be Walt Disney's one man dream.
Oh, they had a
Okay.
recreation of it in
Yeah.
Hollywood Studios, right? In
Yeah.
yeah,
And they closed that, right?
yeah. I think it's gone now. I think they moved that. But
Yeah.
all righty, you ready for number 14?
Yeah.
Here you go.
If you could know any Disney park
Crack-
attraction in
Cracker
your
Barrel.
backyard,
They're
which
crack
one would you
barrel.
pick?
No, it's
Like
Cracker
a
Barrel.
Chewy
There's a
Pack one,
cheese
or the
called
one
like
that were
Cracker
never
Barrel,
built.
but it's not.
Some of her
Okay.
favorites are ones that are gone and
Oh,
concepts that weren't built. So she always throws
Oh,
that in.
okay.
We can't make one of them.
Looks like a welcome.
Boy, that's a tough. I mean, first of all, my backyard's very small. I don't think I could fit much of anything back there. But you know, if I could have any size backyard, also, boy, that's a tough one. I like Star Tours quite a bit. I've always been kind of a fan of that, and Space Mountain. I like Matterhorn too. So, you know, I guess I like motion rides and
Wait,
stuff
we need-
and kind of roller coaster
Mr.
kind of things. So
David was
probably one of
working
those.
on the book,
What do you think?
and he
Sound good?
and he
I'm
And
guessing
you
you
research
probably
stuff are
will.
not
You
for
probably
people, right?
rode
Yeah,
Body Wars
You're
when
going to
it
write
was
a
still
nonfiction book.
open at
Read
Epcot.
She was wondering if you rode Body
Yeah,
Wars
it's your
in
facts
Epcot.
or
and,
accurate.
Yes. Yes.
He's
Yeah. As a matter of fact, isn't
No,
yes,
bro,
I
we're
think
visiting.
my friends actually directed that. Kirk Wise and Gary
So much
Trousdale. That was
passed since-
before they did
since the book's been
Beauty and the
published.
Beast. They created that movie.
Didn't know that.
And they did.
That's different.
There's like little cutouts of heads or something in the beginning, and I think one of them is mine.
Wow.
They used it like staff and crew
Yeah.
and stuff, and took pictures and then animated them on a conveyor belt or something.
That's cool.
Oh.
Yeah, I only saw it like once, but I'm surprised it's still there.
Well, actually, the ride is no longer there, actually.
Oh yeah, the Wonders of Life Pavilion is gone.
But the
But-
building's still there, but
Right.
Disney gave it for like a playground now.
They're supposed to
Yeah.
be making a new play pavilion there. Yeah.
Okay, so but they took out Body World.
I
guess
think
that's
Emma was probably born about 10 or 15 years too late. Because she loves all the history of everything. So when you talk about old Epcot, she would have loved all those old attractions.
Mhm.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
She would have.
Horizon, World of
Horizon. She's
Motion.
doing Horizons trivia soon, so that's one of those things.
Oh,
She
okay.
does a trivia show once a week, so she loves to do that.
That's nice.
All right, you ready for number 15? This is the last question. This is the big one.
Oh.
Okay, let's keep it to one person this time.
Right.
Okay, there you go.
If you could ask Walt Disney one question right now, what would you ask him?
Oh boy, that's really tough. But I will say I'm a big fan of one of the storyboard artists. His name was Bill Peet. Bill Peet was legendary storyboard artist and kind of the artist and worked for Walt early on, like on Dumbo and 101 Dalmatians. He supposedly storyboarded all of Dumbo by himself. He was very prolific. He later got into children's books, and I actually discovered him first as a children's book author and illustrator and fell in love with his work. And then I found out later, as I got older, that he first started at Disney Studios and worked very closely with Walt Disney. But Walt and he got into a huge argument. And it's one of the reasons that Bill left the studio and has sworn he hated Walt. He hated Walt. And I guess my question for Walt, I've only heard Bill Peet's side in his autobiography about how much he hated Walt, and never really, I mean, it was just creative differences and that sort of thing. I don't think there was anything wrong with Walt or Bill, but they just didn't agree and see things eye to eye. And I would ask Walt about Bill Peet and what happened there with their relationship.
There you go. It's amazing. Emma's talked to dozens and dozens of people, and we've tried to ask that question at the end of most of them, and everybody has a different question.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because you would think that there'd be, people would, what would you do with this, or what would you do with that? But everybody has a different insight on him and what they'd want to know, and that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's a pretty cool.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, that is actually the last question.
Yeah.
So I think it's time to say thank you.
Ooh.
And say thank you.
Thank you, Becca, Cody, Bancroft, for coming on my show.
Oh, thank you for having me, Emma. It was my pleasure. And a great show and a lot of fun too, talking about Disney. And thank you for the.
And we're back. How was that? There were some things I had forgotten, or maybe I wasn't quite paying attention to first time it played, because I definitely wasn't in the podcast, the recording room when they were doing it.
Well,
You
recording.
could tell by the way they're dressed. Kevin was in his work shirt when the interview was being done, and then he was in his Mickey Mouse dad shirt on a Saturday play. But yeah, I enjoyed that, and I learned a lot. So he worked on a lot of classics. And did you hear him say that he was one of the youngest, like, supervising animators and animator directors? That's pretty cool. That was pretty cool. So Emma, I don't think we have a thumbnail for Saturday's trivia, and I don't have
No, it's Lion King, right?
I don't know.
That is Saturday Lion King. And anything.
8:23. 3, 8:30. That's today. 9, 6, 10. 1. No, we don't have the September ones in here. It's on my phone. I'm sorry. I should have looked at my phone before we got here.
No, you need okay.
But next Wednesday is our reaction summer video with Stacy Aswad. Stacy was Must Do Disney. She was who we would put on as soon as we got in the room. We put Stacy on.
Yeah.
We'd put Stacy on when we got up in the morning. So we would get ready to go to Disney, to the parks to Stacy. We'd listen to Stacy while we were packing up, unpacking. We just left it on that channel. In the beginning, we used to try to find the old Disney cartoons, like the shorts they would show in the lobbies and for all the TVs and all the deluxe resorts, how they have those TVs.
Before they take it to the new Mickey Court.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, King Bee. I guess you're new to the channel.
Yep.
Don't forget to like this. Everybody like this live stream. Share this.
Welcome to the caravan.
Share this live stream, and King Bee, subscribe to this live stream
And
to this channel.
And help me get to 1,000 subscribers.
Yes, let's get Emma to 1,000
We're
subscribers.
at 617 right now.
Awesome.
Let's get up to, let's say, 670
Yeah.
or 690.
What?
The numbers.
What about the numbers?
Okay, 680 or 670.
For what?
For my channel, the number.
But you haven't gotten that high yet. I've been through, but okay, been Ninja Watcher. All right.
Okay, cool. Thank you for reminding us. Thank you.
I'll post tomorrow in the Facebook page and on Emma's Instagram. I'll do it on Instagram.
And going
What
back to
what the trivia will be this Saturday. I think it's Lion King. I'm not sure.
Daddy.
So we'll double check with Skipper Dad. So until Saturday night's trivia.
Yeah, hold on.
Oh, Emma's gotta get ready. I'm sorry. She's gonna do all this.
Yeah. Although hashtag team replay for those who missed it.
Yes. I'm trying not to yawn with my big mouth. All right, go ahead. Do your
Okay. As always, I really thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this channel out on your social media if you haven't yet. So, Saturday night for trivia. You're welcome. Night, see you on Saturday for trivia. Have a great night and a great rest school week, guys.